Welcome back to Innovaspeed, everybody. It's that time of the week. We're gonna build a truck, some more. I'm gonna share a ton of details about the engine that everybody loves to know and kind of confuses with an LS, even though it's not. It is definitely the original block from the truck, which started life as a 351 cubic inch Windsor, now 408 cubic inches, so I'll get into the details on that. And as always, if I miss anything like that, drop me a comment down below, or you can even use the links in the description to hit me up through any of my social pages and ask your question. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. There's also going to be links in that description if you want yourself a hoodie, t-shirt, anything like that. Support's always appreciated. But most important of all, don't forget, we're about halfway through the build now, and so you've missed a number of videos. Don't worry, I'll link the playlist at the end of the video, but you'll want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss any more moving forward, because it only gets better from here. We're gonna have some downs, we're gonna have some ups, but overall, we're gonna finish this damn truck. Sorry, we're kind of stuck in this little bit of a chaotic corner. I'm actually filming an episode that'll come out in the future about a big event that I'm going to this weekend, so can't wait to share that with you guys. Let's get into it. Okay, we're back, and sorry for the abrupt jump there, but the camera ran out of SD card last time, and it just kind of got late, and so I needed to stop. So I'll bring you up to speed. I didn't jump too far ahead, I promise. Hopefully it doesn't wash out too bad, because the sun's really intense today. Here's the boxing plates I'm going to be putting on. You can see there's going to be a little gap at the end from what I had left on this plate. That's just kind of how it goes. So you can see I use these C-clamps and stuff like that to kind of hold it down. These notches are actually it looks like they actually show up pretty good on camera. That, I don't know if you can really tell that well through there, but there's actually 1/4 inch plates. I think I talked about doing this. That I'm using to reinforce the frame rail internally. Anyway, I am definitely ready to weld up the driver's side, and the passenger side has just, I want to clamp it down a little bit better. That's what we're working with, so I'm going to get this side welded up pretty good so I can at least remove the clamps, and then we'll move them over to just kind of close up some of these gaps on the passenger side here. So anyway, I'll shut up, let's get to work. Welding is finished. I'll show you. You can see like where I filled that in. You know, that actually welded pretty nice because it's all brand new clean metal. We get a little bit of junk in here because of the frame. It's just so hard to get it really truly clean. I'll put in a fill piece to close this gap at some point. It's not important right now. This is well beyond where I planned on boxing, but you know, since this frame is already boxed, I'd like to bring it all together. There's that one. So, same deal. You can see actually right here, man, the welder, whew, we were just jiving. But yeah, so it's all tied back in now. Obviously, I have a little bit bigger piece to, geez, there's so many burrs on this stuff. I gotta tie this one back in. It's gonna be a little trickier. I gotta trim this to kind of match the bottom so the plate lays right. I gotta kick this in, but for now, it looks great. As far as major boxing plates go, is boxed that I wanted boxed. It's all the way down. So, kind of a milestone for this build, to be honest. I laid the first boxing plates in the middle here months ago. So, it doesn't take months to box a frame. But it's just sort of been done in pieces. Part of it was because the cab was still kind of in the way, so yeah, do a section at a time. But it kind of worked with the strangeness of the frame. You know, you can trim the panels and make them really fit nice. So I'm pretty happy with how this has gone. Plenty of work left to do. Plenty of work. So right now, what I want to do, I'm going to grind down those welds, clean it up, just kind of go over a number of welds on the truck and just kind of clean everything up real quick, because I need to take that tranny, my TKO, remember that's my real trans, and I'm gonna go get the real motor, which I don't know that I have filmed it yet. I don't think I have. Obviously, if you follow the build on the Pro Touring forums, or if you follow Instagram, you've seen it. I'll kind of talk through some of the specs of it, some of the significance of it, and then we're going to drop it in the truck today. That is the goal. We are going to put that engine in this truck, because I have a few things I need to figure out. So anyway, I will get back to you when it's time for that.
12 o'clock midnight.
It's obviously nighttime. That's actually because I had a bit of company that I wasn't exactly planning on. I did get a little bit of work done because they wanted to see it, and you gotta show off for company when you're bragging about your race truck project that has been ongoing far longer than you told them all it would be.
To drill it.
Why don't you just look at it?
Yeah, it's sad. It's the only mark.
I mean, just look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, just get a look at that.
I digress. Wait till you see what this looks like. Ready, set, and engine. Ignore the wiring. That's the stuff that runs up into the cab to our ECU. Anyway, I was just mocking up the wiring harness when it was on the engine stand because it was easy to get the whole thing, get to the whole thing. So, from the drive axles all the way forward, there's no more mock-up parts on this truck. This is the real drivetrain. Real motor, real trans, real drive shaft, real diff, no bullshit. Oh shit, I just realized you guys have never seen this engine. Yeah, so that's a high ram. It's definitely a Holly. This is not an LS. This is the original block to this truck. This is still a small block Ford 351 Windsor. One of my goals was to keep a few things true to the truck. I wanted to keep the stock frame, stock body, and I want to keep the stock block. Chances are this block will get ruined. It was a solid block, you know, one owner truck, less than 100,000 miles. Because it had been maintained so well, the engine builder, Duffy Motorsports, he said that had it been just a rebuild, or, you know, not changing any of the bottom end, he literally would have rehoned the cylinders, if that, and since he had the pistons out, he might have re-ringed them. But he said ultimately it was phenomenal. Like, didn't need to be rebuilt at all. Easily another 100,000 miles in it. But anyway, it was just in extraordinarily good condition. So we've started with a very, very good. If you're going to start with a seasoned block, this is what you want. The good thing about that too is nobody had been fucking around in there and ruined bolt holes and some of the crap I dealt with the mock-up block, quite honestly. All of the internals are new. The only thing we got back that's original on this motor is the block. And then there's like some little rails that are spread the load on the oil pan. I mean, just, you know, a couple little bolts and stuff here and there. Every fastener on the motor is ARP. We went with a Scat 4340, I think, forged crank. We went with Icon pistons. And then he took the block 20 thousandths over. So a lot of people go 30 over. We didn't want to go that much. If for whatever reason in the future we needed to clean up the bore, we still have room. Essentially, the engine is now a 408-inch stroker. So we took our 351 to a 408. It's a very common thing to do. Maybe not as common as the 427 stroker kits. There's the particular reason we didn't do that is I want the ability to spin the engine to 7,000 RPM should the autocross or the racetrack dictate, along with my gearing, that I need to rev it out a little bit. Believe it or not, it's better to even almost go to the rev limiter than it is to shift if you're that close. Okay, you'll literally save tenths of a second. Doesn't sound like a lot. That can be the difference between multiple positions in your time trial standings. I wanted the ability to spin the engine higher on the stock block. The problem is this has big main studs, half inch I think is what they are, but still it's only 2-bolt mains, and ideally you'd want splayed 4-bolt mains like the aftermarket blocks have. These valve covers are for extra lift. We have a big cam in here. Streetable, but there's a lot of cams, so our power band is really from about 2500 to 6800 is what it's spec'd for. I am not going boosted. This would probably have a greater effect if I was going boosted. I would just put that out there now. I'm not a big fan of boost when I can have a solid, rev-happy, naturally aspirated V8. I don't need 800-900 horsepower. The idea here is light and efficient. So we have, you know, like 10.5 to 1 compression or somewhere thereabouts. That's really, you really can't go more than that on pump gas with these small block Fords. We have RHS heads. So RHS, for those of you that don't know, is Racing Head Service. They're aluminum heads. They have been all port matched to the intake. Everything is fitted perfectly and jiving together. But we got bigger valves, heavier duty spring, double valve springs. It is a solid roller cam. Some people freak out about the maintenance on that. Truth be told, when Duffy suggested that to me, I was like, nah, I don't want all that maintenance, dude. But the reason I changed my mind is because he's like, dude, you'll get to a point where you can, you know, in 15 minutes you can check them all. If you need to make an adjustment, maybe it's a 30-minute job. Yeah, that's kind of the update here. These headers, I'm not going to get into who makes them. It's been a very frustrating experience for me to put headers on this truck. I'm going to have to modify these, so it's kind of a sore spot for me. This engine will come out one more time. Like I said, this is the first time it's been in here. This is just to get headers set up. I need to make a modification to the transmission mount. Because I'm going to change these tubes to get this little dog leg out of them. I want them to be straight. So that's part of the reason this is in here, right? I wanted to make sure I had adequate header clearance and all that jazz. Oh, and then one of the other things I need to do, I have a bump steer problem with this truck, and the reason for that is with the S197 Mustang spindles, the rack needed to be mounted right here. Fortunately, I had the foresight. Let me see if I can show you guys. There is some room, right? I've got a lot of room, and I set the engine back as far as I could. There's a drain plug up here, and this bowl just for the oil pump. Otherwise, the engine could be set lower, but that's okay. We really don't want it lower because we would run into risking our oil pan to the ground. I like to keep it above the lowest point of the truck. Anyway, the rack now has to be moved up a little bit because of how our steering arms mount. It's just too low, and I can't go any closer to the wheel with this, or it's going to rub the wheel. There's going to be a modification to the steering arm soon. Kind of freaking out about it because I have never cut and welded forged steel before. I've also didn't want to do that, but nobody makes the proper steering arms for front steer with these spindles. So that's going to be an experience. But we're going to have to do it, so you guys will come along for that. I have about an inch and a half I can move the rack up. I only need about a ½ inch. I'm actually going to make it adjustable with shims. It's not adjustable right now, it's just rigid. Fortunately, I only tacked those. Oh, as you can see, I did add the boxing plates to the top of the crossmember, right? Pretty happy about that. And I'm so beyond excited to start it. I've been waiting a long time to even see it in the truck. And with that, we wrap up this week's video. Why? Little long-winded, I realized. I started to add in a bunch more and it just got stupidly long. You guys have proven with your watch time that you prefer the shorter videos. So hey, works for me. Next week we're gonna go ahead and jump right into heavily modifying our headers. Newsflash, I should have totally built them from scratch. I have the experience and all that, but anyway. So we're gonna modify our headers. We might even completely build out our exhaust next week. Still not sure on that one. You'll find out. If you hit that subscribe button, come right back. As always, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. And again, if you need me in any way, shape, or form, products, merch, questions, links are all down below in the description. But I really appreciate y'all tuning in yet again, and I can't wait to see you next week.